Welcome to the Morrison Report. Hosted by Deval Morrison, sales representative for Bosley Real Estate Limited Brokerage. Ms. Morrison has co-authored the best-selling book, Success Today, with Brian Tracy, and has been interviewed on NBC, ABC, and CBS affiliates by Bob Guinea from The Bachelor. Deval, a real estate investor, has spoken to many attendees at her real estate seminars and is currently ranked in the top 5% of agents in her brokerage. Join me in welcoming your host, Deval Morrison.
Welcome to the Morrison Report. I wanted to create a podcast that would give people insights into the Toronto real estate market. You can follow me on Twitter at Deval Morrison and on Instagram as Deval Morrison. And you can like my business page on Facebook.
Today we've got Karen Shin. She is the co-founder of Downsizing Diva with us. Welcome, Karen, to the show.
Thanks, Deval. Thrilled to be part of your program here.
Awesome. Sounds great. So can you just tell our listeners a little bit about what is a downsizing diva exactly?
Well, Downsizing Diva began because we felt that there was a real need for people who were thinking of moving, seniors particularly, who were thinking of moving and may not have had the resources or the family members to help. Ages ago when we used to do our first moves and we were moving into new houses, we could do a lot with, a few friends, a case of beer and a pizzas. But these days, all of our friends have bad backs and, a whole lot of other complaints, and they don't seem to want to be part of our next moving challenges. So we knew there was an opportunity here to help people. I had a background in actually real estate, so we knew a lot of people were thinking about moving, but just weren't quite sure how to go about it. For many people, and I'm sure you've seen it too, Deval,
yep.
For many people, they haven't moved for 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
Absolutely.
So things have changed a bit. So that's where we're here to help, navigate those waters. So we do everything from helping people decide what to take, to packing, sorting, finding homes for items that people no longer want to use or need. And we actually do the actual move day itself. So we coordinate the moving company, reliable ones, of course.
Right.
And we get them, our clients, we get them to their new homes. We unpack. We put everything away, which moving companies don't usually do. They'll unpack maybe, but just leave things on the floor.
Right.
So we put things away. We make sure all of the phones, the lamps, the TV, everything's working. And then we take away all the materials that we've used to pack things in. That's a big project.
Yeah.
And then we can also go back to their home that they have left and get it ready for the new owners or get it ready for you to list. So that's basically the service. We can do any or all of those services. And as we say, we work with care, compassion, and sometimes comedy.
Awesome. That sounds great. How do people generally sort of come by your services? How do they ever find out about you?
A lot of people find out about us through their realtors.
Mm-hmm.
A number find out about us through the retirement residences. The retirement communities are often talking with people who feel they might want to move, and I'm sure you've heard it. I'm not ready yet, but I have some questions.
Right.
And for many people, they're not ready to list their house, they're not ready to think about moving, but they do want to get some information up front. So we get it from those two sources, and of course the internet. A lot of the adult children who are helping their parents move are much more internet savvy than perhaps their parents are. So we find our website, which is downsizingdiva.com, there's traffic to that, and we're on social media. So it's word of mouth primarily, but through a number of sources as well. So if you haven't heard of us, it's probably because we're not doing our job as well as we could. There's so many opportunities to get the word out, and it's a relatively new industry. That's the other challenge. People haven't heard about, we're called senior move managers, and probably the industry has been around for about 10 to 12 years.
Wow, geez. So what would you say the youngest, and then what would you say the eldest client you've had would be?
Well, we've moved families. It's not our absolute niche. Our niche is primarily seniors, which is really anyone over 60, or if some government agencies and places, it's anyone over 55. Or, so it's those ages. The age of seniors seems to be creeping down all the time. But we've worked with young families. We've worked with boomers. And we've worked with a number of older adults, so that a lot of our clients are in their 80s and 90s. We moved someone who was 101.
Wow.
And he moved to a condo. So, wow, we're always amazed with the opportunities that people look at, and they're not all moving to retirement residences. A good portion of them are.
Right.
But it's always we love doing these moves because they're adventures. Of course, we also help families move, their loved ones into places like long-term care, which isn't quite so much of an adventure. It's unfortunately really tied into abilities and declining abilities more than anything else. So those are really smaller moves.
Right.
And we call those our peace of mind moves. So it's really just helping the family when they have other things to worry about. So it's a range for our services.
Wow. And I'm sure you probably see some pretty difficult situations, sort of, I guess, whether people are sort of pack rats and have too much stuff, or people are really, really sick.
We do. And one of the things that we do is we offer a free in-home consultation. The reason we do this is we always say what someone might describe as a real disaster. We have often found, when we pull up to the house, it almost looks like Style at Home or Better Homes and Gardens has just pulled away because it's fabulous.
Right.
Other people, of course, tell us they're living very minimally. And we get in there and we really do have someone who's quite a collector, and it's very difficult to navigate through the house. So it's not that we don't trust the descriptions people give us when they phone.
Right.
It's just that we do like to see for ourselves. So that's why we do the free in-home consultation. And it takes about an hour.
Right.
No cost, no obligation. So that's a service that people avail themselves of. And it gives us a chance to tell potential clients what our services are.
Right.
And then they can pick and choose which ones might really work for them.
Now, in your line of work, when you come across some of those people that have a lot of stuff, are you coming across like rodents and things like that? Like it's that packed with stuff?
No, not usually. When we do, if we find any kind of infestation, we're out of there. I mean, we are quickly out of there. That's not our line of expertise.
Okay.
We do work with a company, or a couple of companies actually, that will go in for extreme clutter situations. That's not what we tend to get involved in. We deal with very extensive collections.
Right.
But I've always said, if we see mouse droppings or something, mold, we're out of there. Because we just don't get into the, Tyvek suits and the respirators and all that. That's a bit more than a diva can handle. They're divas after all. And they haven't quite made those Tyvek suits in purple. So until they do, we're not doing it.
That's completely understandable. I really understand that. So,
but it's finding. But you're just mentioning hoarding.
Yeah.
It has become really much more prevalent among seniors, and I think the reason for it is a lot of our clients grew up during the Depression, and those who didn't were affected by their parents going through it.
Right.
So they were dealing with everything was scarce. So when they got something, well, the type, they held on to it, they made do, they fixed it. They weren't frivolous. Now, the boomers grew up in abundance.
Right.
So if it was broken, you just threw it out and got a new one.
Right.
So it's right now, it's an evolving mindset. But certainly the older clients that we have are very much not so much attached to they don't have a lot of stuff, but what they have, they've made do, and they do really see the value in it. So for them to throw it away is really tough. That's what challenges us to find buyers, or as we like to look at it, there's an expression called safe passage.
Right.
And safe passage can be defined as finding someone who can use your surplus items and put them to good use. They may not pay for them, but they will put them to good use so they're going to a good home.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons that we have now partnered with the Furniture Bank and the Canadian Diabetes Association, so that we can get the Furniture Bank can have any furnishings, small home appliances, and kitchen items.
Perfect.
So we can get them to the Furniture Bank and people can have them for free.
Right.
And then we get clothing and the small items as well to the Canadian Diabetes, and they in turn turn that into money for them to continue diabetes research. So we're thrilled with those two partnerships.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have used the furniture bank before when I'm trying to get rid of my own household items. So, they're very great to work with for sure.
And they will also give a tax receipt, which is really, it's not a big deal to some people, but, it's a nice extra when you get some tax receipt for your donations.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely makes a lot of sense for sure. So when you are working with people, you are, as you said, you're coordinating the move, you're literally working with them and they're sort of letting you know what they need to get packed up, what they don't need to get packed up. Are you sort of asking them which items they should be sort of tossing out? How does it work?
Well, we've been doing this since 2001. So we like to think we know a lot, but we don't know everything.
Right.
But we have found when we're working with our clients, we say we do our work with them and not to them. Now, when I was helping my mom get her items at the house ready to move, it was the toughest job I ever did because we had emotional attachments, both her and I, to her stuff.
Right.
And it was really tough to be objective. So we're that objective voice that it's like someone saying, you really think that looks good on you? And the way you'll say it, the way you look. If it's a total stranger, you'll take that as, maybe I'll rethink this. If it's a son or daughter or a niece, you might get your back up because you got history. And you'll think there might be an ulterior motive there. So we provide the objective viewpoint for all of this. And it really helps. But we do our work with them, not to them, and it makes a big difference. So we don't have an agenda.
Yeah.
What we do have is a floor plan that we have created, which gives our clients an idea of what big pieces of furniture they can take. And usually that's the easy part. It's all of the things they're going to try to shove in drawers and everything else on when they get there. It's that stuff that's tough to downsize. Your clothes, your dishes, the sentimental knick-knacky things that everyone has. It's really tough letting go because we've all got little stories, and so that's our challenge. And, we like to think we know how much would fit in, but ultimately the decision is made by our clients. So even though we say you're not going to have much room to move and we have to leave your new place, safe, familiar and safe, we're recommending you don't take quite so many knickknacks. But at the end of the day, they can take the ones they want because they're grown-ups and they can make their own decisions. So we very much respect their decisions because one of the things that we find as we get older, all of us, we're frightened of losing our independence, our ability to make decisions that affect us.
Right.
And so we really do respect that. And we know that's one of the things our clients certainly can control is what they're taking with them.
Yeah.
Within reason, we hope.
Absolutely.
The floor plan is a big help to that, too, because they can look at a piece of paper, they can see their furniture, because we have a 3-stage process, and we actually measure their furniture and put their furniture on their floor plan. So we go and do a floor plan for their new place. So they can get most of them can get that. We did have a client who we gave her floor plan, and she made another copy of it and reduced it by 15%. So then then she made a new one. And when she put the existing floor plan with her 15% smaller furniture on, she could fit more in. Her furniture hadn't got smaller, but it had on the floor plan. They had no concept. They had no concept of floor planning. This particular couple, we laughed, but it was something that wasn't going through their heads. But for most people, they can look at a floor plan and say, "Oh, I see, it's not going to fit."
Nice. That is very funny. Now, have you noticed a change in your business? I guess just from a plain demographic point that your business is growing because they keep saying the baby boomers are aging and they're going to be making moves and downsizing, but from a realtor perspective, I guess what I notice is that people seem to want to stay in their houses as long as possible. They don't seem to want to move into the condo or move into the home. So on the other side, I sort of wonder, how does that translate to your business in terms of what trends are you seeing from an age perspective of your clientele?
Well, I think that's probably why our clients are usually 75 and older. I mean, it's not to say we don't move people who are younger, but the majority of the people are either looking at it saying, I'm going to make this decision while I still can.
Yeah.
Often they have adult children or nieces and nephews who say, you know what, we're worried that, if you have a fall, and we always say, you don't want to fall after you're about 4 years old, because it takes time to get over a fall. And the older we get, the more a fall will make a big difference in our ability to be mobile and to get things done. So
right.
we see a concern from the adult children